Hi all, Plantside Agent here. Today we're going to take a look at a brew kit I made from the Wide C 400 milliliter pot. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. I have it stored in a little bag that actually came with one of the Trangia knockoff stove setups, and I wasn't using it and it fit perfect. Always save little things like this because you never know when they come in handy for something. So yeah, just have to fit this perfect. It's probably not necessary, but why not? Okay, next. And this is the Wide C 400 milliliter pot. I got this on, I think, AliExpress. I kind of like the idea. It had already had the plastic lip on it, which, you know, if you're going to drink hot drinks out of these aluminum or titanium pots or cups, you know, you have trouble burning your lips. You can buy those aftermarket, I think Hot Lips, little plastic or silicone things you can put on there, but those things are kind of expensive. So there's other things you can do. You can get those old wristbands, like I did for this cup here, that you can, those silicone wristbands, like the ones that, who was the cyclist that had the Lance Armstrong wristbands, or any of those. You can find those online. I don't know if you can still find them or not, but you can always put those on there sometimes to give you some lip protection if you're going to drink straight out of a metal cup. I tend to like to put mine into some sort of a plastic cup, like the ones that come with the Stanley cook sets. But anyway, we digress. And it came with some nice silicone handles. It was a nice little cup and wasn't very expensive. I can't remember now what it was, but probably the only thing is his handles kind of flop around, but you know, that's a minor annoyance. But other than that, it's a nice little pot, and I bought it just for fun. And I thought, you know, I wonder if I can build a brew kit around it. And the answer to that is yes, you can, or I did. Okay, to start from the top, we'll just work our way inside. I made a lid for it since it was just a cup. It didn't come with the lid. So I kind of looked around, thought what could I use for a lid, and I found I had a can. I save cans, use them for different things. I found that this size can, which is just a little bit wider than say your standard bean can. So it was. I just kind of measured around until I found a can that would kind of fit. So I went ahead and used one of those side cutter type can openers, or safety can opener they call them, that you can go around the side on. And what that does is that pops it off. It's on the outside rather than the inside of the can, like most can openers cut along the inside. So this gives you a nice little lip. So, and that also fit down inside perfectly inside the cup. So that's what it is. So I cut that out. Then I just took a little emery paper to smooth out the edges, so they're not real sharp, but you just smooth them out anyway. It just makes it nicer. Then I drilled 3 vent holes so that the steam will escape and it won't bounce on top of your pot when it starts to boil. And for a lid lifter, I went ahead and I used some radiator hose repair tape, and it works better for hotter temperatures, obviously, radiator hose. So I've used it before on other lids. Here's a lid I made out of the bottom of a tuna fish can, but they work pretty good. So anyway, that's the lid lifter. I'm trying to keep this thing light and easy. There's some other things you can do. I made a lid out of a pot, kind of digressing here, or sidebarring here. Here's a lid I made out of a bigger can, and I used one of those tensioners you use on that come with guy lines for tarps and stuff, and I had a D-ring, so I made one pop rivets. But just some of the things you can do. I like to make things, do things. I like to stay busy. So that's the lid. Okay, now we'll go on the inside. Let's see where to start. Well, I'll just start with some of the other things. For coffee, this is the it's got, you know, room wise, if you can look in there, you got room for storing stuff inside, so it's an all-in-one kit. And I do like all-in-one kit where you got everything together and stuff's not, you know, at the bottom of your pack when you're rooting around. You just pull this out and away you go, or leave it in a side pocket and stuff in your haversack, whatever you're going to do. But anyway, then I was able to fit some, here's some cream sugar packet with actually a little napkin. This came from one of those, you go to a hotel, you know, they usually have those little coffee makers, and then they'll usually have these packets with cream sugar, usually a artificial sugar, real sugar, and a non-dairy creamer. And this one actually comes with a little bit of napkin. For this one, I didn't use the little stir and stick, which you could. You could either, it's a little high just to set straight in, but you could cut it down if you wanted, or maybe bend it around so it fits in there. Either way. So you got room for cream and sugar. And then for a stir and stick for this one, I actually used a popsicle stick that I cut down. So either one will work, however you want to do it. And then for fuel, well, let's go back here. I have room for a tea bag, and also I have one of those winged coffee filters for drip or pour over coffee. I'll show you what this looks like when I get the rest of this cup unloaded. But the only room wise, I was starting to run out of room. I don't know if you could get your coffee in there. I think if you put enough coffee for a cup, and you can make either a 400 or a 300 milliliter cup. Now this one has graduation marks on the inside. These are reversed here, but 1, 2, and 300, and then the 400 is just about to here on the cup. So I don't know if you could get enough coffee to suit your taste, or you maybe could cram some of those little instant packets in there if you didn't want to do a drip. But just lots of different possibilities. Whatever you like. Surprising, you get quite a bit of stuff in this little thing. Now for the alcohol fuel, I happen to have this little 1 ounce bottle that I can hold my alcohol in. And 1 ounce will give you more than enough fuel to boil a cup. Might even get 2 cups out of 1 ounce. And or you could find some other one. This one will also fit. Here's an old Beano bottle, and that will hold alcohol, and that will also fit in there. I wanted something that was low enough profile that I could get it in there on top of the burner and get the lid on. So next, coming out of here, here's the pot stand for the burner. It's made out of hardware cloth, the smaller one. And then for the burner, I used one of my 1 ounce round tin alcohol burners. I do have a video on making these and different burn tests. I'll put the links of those in the description box. And also I have a playlist of all my different cook sets and burners and stoves, different ones if you want to go chase down some of my other videos. But this is little 1 ounce cosmetic tin, they call it, and it holds an ounce of fuel, which will boil 2 cups of water quite easily. Anyway, I just have some carbon felt coiled up in there for the burner. And by the way, putting the carbon felt in these, they perform better, and then you don't have to worry about tipping them over and spilling alcohol over the place and setting your world on fire. So anyway, that fit in here nice. And then for a windscreen, I've used these many times before. This is a Foster's can, so I just cut these out, and they make excellent windscreens. I just use a hole punch to punch out vent holes in the bottom. See, and they're nice and small and light, and they'll just fit inside the cup. And then in the very bottom, I have a little platform that I made out of craft foam that I got at the dollar store, and then covered with aluminum foil. I do these for a couple of different reasons. One, it kind of insulates your burner from the ground, which is not really necessary. These type of burners work pretty good just straight on the ground or on a rock, even when it's below freezing outside. but also this also gives it a little bit wider base if you're on uneven ground. So, and it, like I say, it's small, doesn't take up any room, light as a feather. So to show you this thing all set up and ready to go, so I'm staying in frame. That goes on here. And you could add your fuel to your burner. There's the pot stand, and then you got your cup. Fits on there nicely. I had to play around with it to make sure I wanted it as wide as I could get, but still, you know, fit nicely on top of the cup, or the cup would sit on it. So it goes on there. This can go on here, and then you got your windscreen. Can come around there, and then your lid. And there you go. You're ready to brew. Oh yeah, I just found a fail in my setup here. If you're boiling your water in here, I think for coffee, for tea is not a problem. Once the water's boiling, you can just, you know, dip your tea bag in there and add your cream and sugar. But for coffee, I guess it's not going to work as a pour through. It's because, you know, where are you going to pour into? And it's, you know, pour through is designed for really, you know, a cup and a pot for water. Imagine you might be able to stick the coffee in this bag and just let it soak in there. It probably wouldn't be that effective. So you're probably either, I'd say you're going to make cowboy coffee, just put the grinds in there and, you know, stir them around, or use instant coffee. So, and of course, like I say, tea's not a problem, but obviously I haven't used this in the field. I just kind of recently put all this together. I had it kind of put together for a while. I was just kind of waiting to see what I was going to use for a lid. But anyway, I'll show you these little coffee pour overs. I've used these many times. I have them I have them in several different kits that I can use to make pour over drip coffee. But these are kind of cool. I saw these. I've seen these around. You can buy them in bulk. I think from Temu or Amazon or who knows, all kinds of places. Just kind of look around. I don't know what they're really called. But what they do is they're all folded up nice and neat. They have these little ears that pop out, and when you pull them out, you got room for your coffee. And it's about good for, you know, a 16 ounce brewed nicely. And then these ears just fit over the side like this nicely, and there you go. You got your little pour over. And of course, like I said, in this case, what am I pour the water into? But yeah, these really work great if you want to look them up. So, okay, let's see. Well, that's the brew kit. Can't think of anything else to say about it. It'll definitely work. One of these days, I'm going to get out and start doing some videos of me actually using these things in the field. I haven't really done that yet. So, well, that's all I can think about today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.